Hi everyone, I am the Ask the Mighty Thor blog, the writer, RP-er, whatever you want to call it, occasionally the Mun, but I decided to make this in celebration of all of you for being so amazing, and as of right now, there are 5,601 of you, and that's really, really, really mind-blowing, because I made this last month, about last month, in response to the energy surge I got after watching the Avengers. And even though Thor didn't get much screen time, I thought I wanted to really represent who he was. And I thought I'd get maybe 100, 200, 300 at the most. But you guys really surprised me. And I guess that means that I'm quality, which is awesome. I mean, I honestly had no idea this would happen. And I'm really overwhelmed. And just like hearts and shit for all of you. And yeah, and I wanted to make this to kind of in commemoration of how awesome all of you are. So thank you. And well, I have said honored like three or four times, so I'm not going to say that one more time, but I'll get to the questions that I received. But the major one is, how the hell do you do this? How do you roleplay? How do you roll an ass vlog that is successful? And a lot of it is a combination of luck, talent, and writing ability. And I believe that anyone can be a good writer. All it takes is practice. It's just like art. It is 90% practice, 10% skill. Like, I used to suck so bad at this. Like, writing in general, you have to be a somewhat strong writer to kind of do this perfectly. The major discrepancy that tends to happen is two things. Sticking to canonical, sticking to the story, the plot of whatever your subject matter is and whatever you're trying to portray. And then structural things like grammar, spelling. Those two things are major. And people get mad when you get away from it, because when you don't spell things correctly or you have terrible grammar, then that hinders from what you consider to be your credibility, your ethos. If you don't have credibility and ethos, then people don't feel the need to ask you things. And so you have to do... It only makes sense to me it's if it makes sense for your character. Like, if they were a nonsensical character, then, yeah, they, would spell things wrong, or if it's intentional, it makes sense, then people respond to it. But otherwise, I would advise against it. I mean, this comes from the perspective of a rather major grammar Nazi, but I think it stands to be really important, and for that, and you have to really immerse yourself in the character. I mean, Thor and I are extremely different. I mean, not even just in physical sense, dark hair, boobs, femaleness in general, and he's cut, long flowing blonde hair, abs the quality of titanium. Well, that's just Chris Hemsworth, but I'm pretty sure, well, how Thor looks is a little bit different depending on what you're looking at, but I'm movie-based, so Chris Hemsworth, but yeah, you have to really, remember to separate yourself from, this is me, and this is who I am role-playing. That's huge, and then you go into canon and things like that, but to make sure you don't get your own personal biases, if it hinders in the biases of the person that you're playing. Like Thor on the stance of same-sex marriage, being bisexual, homosexual, aromantic, everything like what strays from the norm. It is my strong belief that he would stand by you no matter what. As long as you don't kill people, cause crime, cause any kind of disturbance, anything like that, he's good. He's good, man. He's all good. He'll protect you, Mjolnir at his side, he will destroy frost giants for you because you are a human and you are one of his protectees, one of his people that he has to see. He's been obligated and is happy to protect, and I can say that with a lot of certainty because of who he is as a person, and that's a major thing. And a lot of you ask if the other roleplay blogs, we know each other. Not personally, like I don't know all of them in real life, but I met them through the Mass Effect community because I run a Caden blog, and for example, Ask Iron Man is also Ask Garrus Vicarian, Ask Natasha Romanova is also Ask Talizora, and the Hawkeye blog and the Ask Gamma Scientist Bruce Banner blog is also James Vega. So it was through them that we created this little niche, if you want to call it that. I didn't know the Loki blog before I started this, and she's an amazing, so amazing what she does. I wish I knew her beforehand. I'm really awesome. I'm really happy to know her now. And Ask the God of Mischief. And the same thing goes for Not the Misery Brings, and both and then Smith Loki I met a little longer ago. And she is legitimately awesome. She's a teacher, and that's really cool, but a lot of us are just teenagers, and in the terms of Ask the God of Mischief, a college student. So we're just people that we miss in our spare time. And I'm personally friends with, major friends with, the three that I listed off, Ask Iron Man, Ask Natasha, and Ask the Bruce Banner and Clint blog. And, we did this because I forced them to do it, because I made the Thor blog, and then I was like, oh my god, we have to have interactions and shit, and the Ask Iron Man blog was kind of all iffy about it. He was all like, mrr, and then I'm like, no, you do it, you'll be quality. And he is quality, because he's one of the best writers, best role players that I've met on here. The same thing goes for the Black Widow blog, the same thing goes for Clint and Bruce Banner. And I call him Vitor, because he's so versatile with everything that he does, and all of them are such amazing people, and I'm really honored to know them. The same goes for the Loki blogs, and the same goes for the blogs that I've come into contact with, like the Nick Fury blog. You kill me every time with your responses, and I'm just kind of like, oh, my sides, I can't handle this. And yeah, and he makes the crack interactions with Thor all the more hilarious. And she is just so quality. Why are you so quality? And, but, it was, yeah, and this, friendships like that really solidify this experience. And obviously all of you. And, let me try and go through the inbox and see if I missed anything significant. I'm pretty sure I did. And, well, how did I start RPing? That's a good one. I started RPing in April on a complete whim, because I saw a bunch of Mass Effect blogs interacting with each other, and I was like, hey, I can be a good Caden. And so I made a Caden blog, and then the rest was history. And which brings us to this point, and well, I have been neglecting the Caden blog, but no one shall harass me for that, because I'm meh. And a lot of people, let's see, anything else? And this has been about the funniest thing. Like, people ask me, this is one, does answering all these questions as Thor come easy to you? The answer is yes and no. Comedic things, like Thor being naive, that comes in a snap of a finger. Because I feel like he would be so stupid at all of this, and like people asking him if they, like, how long his dick is, or if they want to make out with him. It's like, you want to play some tongue tag, bruh? He would just be kind of like staring at you like, what? It's like, I do not understand your Midgardian dialect, and so I shall completely fly my head over it, because he doesn't get it. And it leads to funny interactions between him and Tony Stark, who, it's like they have a little bromance going, but obviously all of you know my strongest bromance is with Ask Captain America, who I also know is part of our little group, and he runs, or not Rex, and he's like one of the most quality Steve blogs ever, and of course he knows that in our little drinking game. But back to what I was saying. The comedic things are way easier to do than serious, because I really think out serious posts, like either people asking me if we accept each other, if I accept that, Thor accepts them, who they are, which is, the answer is always yes, but I always want to articulate it, especially so I can relate to people with similar questions and don't want to ask, and especially with things with Loki, and like, I have so many feelings for Loki, and their brotherhood in general is possibly one of the most tragically sad in from what I've seen lately, and because I have how do I put this into words? I like to call it brother feelings. I mean, I don't ship Thorky. I have nothing against anyone who does ship it, but I don't, because I think it's a really strong brotherhood, and Ask the God of Mischief and I are really into kind of portraying that. and because like Thor loves his brother more than anything, and the same thing goes for Loki, but he's so wrapped up in his psychosis and so wrapped up in his instabilities that he can't really vocalize that. And so Thor always giving him an accepting environment, loving, accepting, come back home, brother, and like, brother, I will not fight you, brother, like. And then I'm sure that means a lot to Loki. Like, if you've seen the Avengers, I won't spoil it for you, but there are instances of when the both of them are interacting, and Thor's begging him to come home, and he's like, no, and then Thor's like, and you can see how it tears both of them up to do that. And so I try to portray that as much as I possibly can. And this is 10 minutes long. I should really wrap this up, but let's see. Did I miss anything? Well, how to get into it in general. I mean, all you gotta do is find a character and kind of give your own personal spin to it, without obviously straying from canon, because that's a huge deal. But, and then Kat asked me to make a creepy face, so there. Happy Kat? Better be, because I'll send you creepy faces later, like little creepy faces for you. But thank you, all of you, for everything that you've done for me, and I hope to not disappoint, and hearts and stuff. And I know if this is annoying, because no one really cares about the person behind the blog in general, and I just wanted to do it for those that did. So thank you. And thank you. And I'm really happy to be able to do this, because it's beyond an honor. So, this is your Thor blog, signing out. Thank you again, because